Hot Springs Village Inside Out is a closer look at the greatness of Hot Springs Village, Arkansas, and the surrounding areas. People, places, experiences. Hot Springs Village, Arkansas is one of the most beautiful places on the earth. Join me, Randy Cantrell, and my co-host Dennis Simpson as we engage in weekly conversations to explore Hot Springs Village Inside Out. Today's show is brought to you by Central Arkansas's favorite radio station, KVRE. Find them on the dial at 92.9 FM. Stream them live at kvre.com.
You know, when my dad had a colonoscopy, he woke up from the anesthesia to share a secret with all of my sisters and I that he was Johnny Cash's father. Never mind that they were the exact same age.
And that's why during Colon Cancer Awareness Month, everyone should go get their colonoscopy. That is this month.
You should get your colonoscopy and have your friends and family near, simply in case you have any great stories you need to tell. I always said every time my mom had a procedure, I'm always like, let's gather around because she's going to say something really funny. Okay.
Absolutely. Bring your phone and your camera and be TikTok ready.
That's right.
Well, welcome to another episode of Hot Springs Village Inside Out. We're here today with Miss Mandy and Miss Kelly, and they are from National Park, and they are delightful people, actually delightful. We have a tremendous amount of information to cover. Mandy, it's what month is it?
March is Colon Cancer Awareness Month. So you might be watching this in April. We may have just moved past it. But yes, if you did not take advantage of Colon Cancer Awareness Month and schedule your colonoscopy, we can help you with that. We absolutely can. Kelly leads a couple of great establishments that are very focused on helping you to enhance your colon health and ensure that you get screened early so that we catch anything before it becomes cancer.
You know, I've got that scheduled right after my root canal, and I cannot wait. I can't wait for these things.
Good.
Let's call a spade a spade. People are obviously tentative and cautious about this, but let's be frank about it. You go to sleepy sleep land, you wake up and they say, hey, we didn't find anything. It's great. Right?
Exactly.
Or if they did find something, if you're doing it, within the guidelines, more than likely it's caught early enough that you're not going to have a major surgery.
When's early enough? When do we start?
45 is the age now to have your initial colon. If you're of normal risk, right. 45 is now the age to have your first.
And usually after that, it's every 5 years for a while until you get older, right?
That's right.
Okay. Unless you just enjoy it and you want to. But anyway, so let's go back. And Mandy and Kelly are from National Park. Now, let's address this. And this kind of came up because we've always wondered for people inside and outside the village, what kind of healthcare options are they? So, Kelly, tell me what we have in the village that National Park provides.
Well, thank you so much for allowing us to share this. We have a wonderful small family medicine focused practice that is led by Dr. Jerry Canada, who oversees 2 nurse practitioners, and they provide the full complement of family medicine care, as well as providing some urgent care needs. We have walk-in, same-day access appointment scheduling. We have telehealth options that are available to folks who aren't necessarily able to get out. And if their problem or the need that they have to see the physician or nurse practitioner kind of meets something that could be done telephonically. So we're very privileged to have this clinic out there. It has been out for many, many years, providing this level of service to the folks at Hot Springs Village. In addition to just having the primary care clinic, we have utilized this clinic to provide some satellite support for advanced services that aren't necessarily available anywhere else in the Hot Springs Village area. For example, we have our interventional cardiology clinic out there. They are out there once a month seeing folks. We have the ability to do an EKG. We have Dr. Eric Bowen, who was actually voted the best cardiologist in Hot Springs this last year. So very excited about his relationship and commitment to the village. He actually lives in that area, so he has a special commitment to there. And then we, in the 1st of February and then the 1st of March, we added in a heartburn focused care model with a nurse practitioner who is provided oversight by a general surgeon and a gastroenterologist. So we have the ability to take care of heartburn and all of the issues that are presented when you have heartburn that's unresolved by medicines.
Now, where's this building located? Where's the facility? I'm sorry, where's the facility at? Where's it located at?
It's at the West Gate.
That's right. It's at the West Gate. I actually have the address memorized. It's 121 Cordova Center Drive. So it's fine. Yeah.
So it's literally, it's literally
right
at the gate. As you pull in the gate, it's at the gate as you're coming into the gate, it's on the right-hand side. That's the Cordova Center.
That's right.
Obviously, I've never been there. I was just asking about it, and I wondered to myself how that works. I didn't realize you had urgent care. What is that? I mean, how do you do that?
Well, right now we have a walk-in clinic, which is staffed with, like I said, Dr. Canada provides oversight to two nurse practitioners, and they see patients who have minor illnesses and injuries. We are adding some advanced radiology capabilities later this year, so we'll be able to really see more of an urgent care type nature. Our staff can do minor lacerations, minor trauma. We have connections to all of our multi-specialty clinics that are here in the Hot Springs area. So we have the ability to get our patients quickly connected with whatever service line that they might need, rather than waiting and trying to maneuver our way into these specialty clinics.
Yeah. Well, Mandy, what's in your mind, what's the benefit of having satellite locations if I really just need to go to the hospital? Is it an easy kind of a triage way, or what is that?
So it depends on kind of what we're talking about. If we're talking about the primary care, I don't know about you, but anytime I've needed care in the last couple of years, it feels like something's popped up, whether it's for my kids or myself. It's not something that I've planned on, and I need to go see somebody today. So that's the benefit of having that urgent care type setting right outside the West Gate. Number one, you don't have to drive all the way into Hot Springs to get it taken care of, and you don't have to make an appointment. I mean, you can call us that morning if you'd like to before you stop in, but there's no need to do that. And Kelly didn't mention this, but one of the providers out there, they're both great. One of the APNs, it's Rod and Nikki, both fantastic. Rod has an extensive emergency department background, so there's not really much that you can walk in and surprise him with. And so he loves that setting of providing care to folks that he's not even expecting to see that day. So, so yeah, you wake up and you've got a killer headache and super congested, and you don't know if it's the flu, and you think you might need something. You go see them and get them taken care of. Well,
now, and I'm not going to mention names, but there is another walk-in clinic that I have been going to across the street behind McDonald's. We won't mention any names or other hospitals, yes. But they don't do that anymore.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I didn't know that either, because I got off a ship with apparently the norovirus. Yeah. Yeah. And that was not the weight loss program I had in mind. That was about 10 pounds, and I'm having those uncontrollable shakes and everything. And finally called the clinic where I thought I usually would go and walk in, and their comment was, "We don't do that anymore." I said, "When's your next availability?" "Tomorrow at 2. I said, "Well, I've got an appointment with Dr. Leffler, literally across the street from you kids at Family Medical, on Wednesday. I guess I'll just wait till Wednesday." And I did not realize y'all had an urgent care walk-in facility there. I will be changing my ways, if you know what I mean. So I've been working with Dr. Leffler, fantastic doctor, if I can, across the way. I'm very critical, and I don't mean that as in critical as in he did this wrong. I'm critical as in I critique and I watch very closely. He's one of the smartest, best doctors I've ever seen, extraordinarily well-read. The answers are concise and well thought. I don't ask him a question just to kind of pop off because he's going to give me an answer. That said, he's right across the street from National Park at Family Medical there. And I've never been directly to see you guys. I mean, do I need to have a referral? Can I work with one hospital or the other? How does that work?
Well, with Dr. Leffler specifically, he actually goes to both facilities in Hot Springs. So you do have a choice. And we would typically recommend that you just check with your insurance provider first. I mean, if you're privately insured, you want to make sure that you're going to the facility that's covered by your insurance. But if you're covered at both facilities, we'd love to see you. We'd love to see you either way, but you probably don't want to have to pay to be seen at one hospital if you wouldn't have to pay to be seen at the other. So absolutely, Dr. Leffler sees patients at both facilities, and we would love to have you come and see us if you need to. I guess that's one thing about being a hospital. We're here if you need us, but we hope you don't have to come see us anytime soon.
It's like having a good attorney. You want a great one, but you don't want to have to go see them.
Right.
Exactly.
Right,
yeah. Well, so Kelly, tell me what is your capacity? What have you worked on here at the National Park?
Well, I oversee all of our multi-specialty clinics and our physicians. I also provide physician recruiting and contracting. And really my ultimate goal is to make sure that all of our practices put the patient at the center of everything that we do. Because we all understand fully that if we do that, our decisions are going to be the right ones. We have a mission to make our community healthy, and it's my job and responsibility to ensure that we have the practices in place to do that. So you mentioned something about the village walk-in clinic that you normally would go to that sort of, from what I hear you say, is a stopgap when you aren't able to get into your primary care physician. So we received that message from the community, and we implemented a walk-in clinic once that one closed so that we could continue to meet the needs of the community. We want to be good partners with Dr. Leffler and anyone else that's out there. Our goal is to make sure that the patient that needs us receives the care in the time and in the format that fits their needs, and then to send them back to their primary care physician if they choose to go there.
Well, it's funny you should say, there are enough stereotypes in the village to go around. You don't need any more. There's plenty of stereotypes. One of the stereotypes that I want to make note is that I know, I guess 1,000 people, probably more, and many more who think they know me, and happy to chat with them. That said, I can't recall, and I don't know of someone who is in that group that I see all the time that's obese. It's just not. Now, outside the gates, it's unfortunately quite prevalent, but inside the gates is not as much. And I realize there's a lot more fit and trim and working out and playing golf and staying active and those kind of people. And I'd like to put myself in this category that says, I really don't want to drive all the way to Hot Springs to see my GP when I got a cut on my finger, or I've it's something that's not serious. And I know it's not serious, but I don't want to call I don't want to go to an emergency clinic in Hot Springs and wait for 3 hours. I don't want to go to the ER. I just like to have it taken care of, So, and all that said, Mandy, tell me what you do. Where's your occupation here?
Sure. So I am the Director of Marketing and Communications for National Park Medical Center, and that also includes National Park Physician Services. So I have the honor of getting the information about the services that we offer in front of the patients who need it. So just like you said, you didn't realize that we had an urgent care center in Hot Springs Village. Well, that's why we're here today. We want to make sure that Hot Springs Village residents know that service is available to them. If they don't need us, we don't want to see them. We want for people to be, like you said, healthy and fit and out playing golf, out enjoying the lakes in Hot Springs Village. But we want to be available to them if they should need us. One of the neat things that I get to do in my role is to put our physicians in front of the public so that they can tell our community about the services that they offer, but also so that the community can ask questions back of them. So Dr. Lawrence has just had a seminar out in Hot Springs Village about knee pain, to talk a little bit about the different procedures and medical options that he has to treat those. And that's something that I love to do. I mean, obviously, we're promoting a great new service that we have at National Park Medical Center. Dr. Lawrence and his partner, Dr. Hubbard, are now using a state-of-the-art ROSA robotic knee replacement surgery. And that's exactly what he talks about. But it gives the over 40 attendees the opportunity to talk to Dr. Lawrence too and ask him about himself, about his skills and about the technology that he's using also. And like you said, I mean, this is an active community. So procedures like knee replacements are very common. And so we want to make sure, I mean, the ROSA robot was something that we have to help make our communities healthier. We knew it was a service that we needed to offer in Hot Springs and Hot Springs Village. And so that's why we have it, to help knee surgeries be even more advanced. Now, with my degenerative hearing, I thought I heard you say Rosie the robot does the knee surgeries now. Is that what I heard? You weren't far off, if we're just being honest. Only people old enough to know the Jetsons got that joke. So don't worry about it, people. I got it. No, I wanted to come back to ROSA stands for robotic surgical assistant, ROSA, robotic surgical assistant. So it truly is a robot that assists Dr. Lawrence and his partner, Dr. Hubbard, when they're performing a knee replacement. I'm going to put you on the spot, if you don't mind, Mandy. Could you get one of the doctors in front of a camera and we chat later? Could we do that? Probably. I would love to. I know and I know you were, and as we're recording this last week of March, I know that we were talking about how that presentation is happening this week, and we couldn't get that in time. But honestly, as you talk about knee replacement, lower back pain, GERD or digestive heartburn issues, these are the top 10 hitters. These are the things that we see in the village all the time. Let me come back to something, and I want to realize the people that are watching and listening can be 5 miles from here. They can be 5,000 miles from here. We have Australia, we have Austria, we have Germany, we have people all over the world listening and wanting to know about the area, because it's needless to say it's unique, in an understatement. And I come back to that to say, I grew up in Benton. Okay. A few years ago, I was dating an ICU nurse who had worked at Saline Memorial, nice hospital. And I asked her, I said, what do you, it's not even a satellite. It's, 20 minutes from there to Baptist or any of the big hospitals, the medical centers, the teaching centers, all this. And I said, so tell me about Saline Memorial. And she said, I've worked as a traveling nurse all over the United States. And she said, they were some of the best people I'd ever seen at stabilizing people and getting them out to someplace else. And I thought about that a minute, and I thought, well, that would make sense. But that's not the role that National Park plays, is it? This is not triage and ship them out. You have the experts on staff in-house, right? That's right. And I appreciate your kind words about Saline. They're actually a sister facility of ours, and I help them with their marketing as well. They are a fantastic facility. The thing about National Park is we are a referral hub. We receive patients from all over the southwest part of the state. If you look at the state of Arkansas and you kind of look southwest and even a little bit southeastern of Hot Springs, there's just not a whole lot there. Mm-hmm. Between Hot Springs and Texarkana, as far as metropolitan areas, you're just not going to find them. So we receive patients from that entire portion of the state, and they're everyone from Mena and El Dorado and all of those areas. Those are all very important areas, just like Hot Springs Village to us in Hot Springs. So at National Park, we truly consider ourselves a referral hub for all of those communities. And we work with their emergency departments and providers in those communities to make sure that we have the services that their patients need. Well, let me address that just for a moment. And once again, I'm saying this as a resident, not as an expert in any way or any time, obviously. But when I was growing up in Benton, I remember the derogatory things people would say about Saline Memorial. And it wasn't fair, because I thought they had a really great hospital. And when I ever went and met other people that were going there or had any services there myself, I thought, this is a sharp place. They're on the ball. And I think there's a mentality in smaller towns that we think, oh, the big city, they have all the answers. When in doubt, just go to the big city. And I don't think that's always the case. Do you, Kelly? No, absolutely not. We have specialists across the continuum to manage everything from your heart all the way to every other part of your body, brain surgery, neurology, interventional cardiology, gastroenterology, orthopedics. We have a wide gamut of
multi-specialty practices just designed to take care of the whole need of the patient. I think what sets us apart from my vantage point is that our practices function as a patient-centered home. So we truly believe that patients need to receive care when they need it in the right setting at the right time in a way that makes sense to them, and that what they can expect when they get there is a partnership between my physicians and the clinic staff with the patient and their family so that they make good decisions together about the next step in their care process. And I don't think a lot of practices outside of our catchment area really implement the patient-centered medical home approach to care, but that's something that's very critically important to not only myself, but our hospital leadership as a whole. So we really try to focus on giving good quality care to patients in a partnership manner with them so that they have a voice and engagement in their care.
Your comment is really timely too. We actually, we have a morning safety briefing. And this morning it was led by our chief operating officer. His name is Chris. And a couple of compliments came up during the beginning of the meeting about people who were just really impressed with the care that they received at our facility. And they, of course, they wanted to draw comparisons to other communities. And the comment truly was, bigger is not always better. The quality of care that you can receive at a smaller facility can oftentimes be better because it is a smaller facility and the technology is not necessarily less, but the attention to the specific patient. You're not a number here. You're not just a patient. You're a person at National Park Medical Center for sure.
I'm sorry, Mandy, I apologize.
Not at all.
I've always said, and now that I hear myself say this, I realize I'm talking about bigger hospitals. Anybody who goes to the hospital alone as a patient is going to have a problem because it's hard to advocate for yourself from the hospital bed, right? You're in an altered state of some sort, or you're stressed, or you're whatever. And it's so wonderful to have a family member go, tell me that again, what's this procedure again? And I realize, let me just tell a story and let's have an example, shall we? I've had a sore throat for coming on 8 months. Yeah, 8 months. So I go to Dr. Leffler. He sends me to an ENT. The ENT, this is like, this would be September. The ENT says he can see me in early November. I go to see him in early November after all this time. And they say, well, you know what, we can get you a CT scan just to set up and make sure. We think it's just, reflux, but we're going to do a CT scan to make sure. And they set up the CT scan for the 30th of December. And they called me and they said, hey, listen, here's the CT scan. We've got you set up. And by the way, it was that other hospital. And they said, we've got you set up. Come on in. And by the way, it's $786 for your part of the plan because you haven't fulfilled your deductible at any this year. So you go ahead and need to go ahead and pay that. And I said, on the 30th of December? Yeah. I said, why would I pay $700 and something for my deductible when in 2 more days I'm going to start a brand new deductible period? Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. We should have thought of that. Yeah, we should have thought of that. Okay. All right. Well, let's reschedule. Here we are at the end of March. Haven't heard from them. By the way, just one other deal. That's wrong. I did hear from them. About a month ago, which would have been 10 weeks after my visit to the ear, nose, throat. I got a letter in the mail that said I'd been exposed to tuberculosis, then I needed to go get tested. So this has not been the ideal experience for me at the other hospital, if you know what I'm saying. And I'm not trying to bash the other hospital. I'm just saying I would love to give you guys the opportunity. I'll be calling Dr. Leffler very soon, and we'll try and reorganize some of these things, right?
Well, we'll be happy to see you. We have good friends and neighbors over at the other facility as well, and we know they can provide great care also.
I was going to echo exactly what Mandy said, because in reality, we're all here to take care of patients, whether you receive it at National Park or at any other facility. We want to be partners with whomever you choose to get your care from, and we just want to make sure that you get the right level of care, and we give you the information to get the right level of care. But I will tell you that I'm very sensitive to exactly what you just said about the deductible, because financial obligations can make the difference between a patient receiving care timely or too late. So I work really hard with my staff to understand that plans who have annual deductibles always have grace periods. I say always, probably generally have grace periods. If we reach out to them and say we need to provide this care, will this deductible roll over and still count if they have to have something here, this amount? And a lot of times we can get the authorization from the insurance, but you never know until you advocate on behalf of the patient. So we try to be sensitive to the things that can make a difference in the patient receiving the care in the time that they need.
And I hope you understand, my point was not to be derogatory to the other hospital. This could happen anywhere, anytime. You know it can. I do too. I think the point I'm trying to get at, and in echoing your point, Kelly, is that when it's patient-centered, then you think in terms of the patient. What would it be like to be in that position? What would that feel like? Well, I wouldn't care for that. But let's see if we can extend that. By the way, I didn't even know that existed until 10 seconds ago. Really, still didn't.
Well, I just think it's important to not only think outside the box, but to think like there is no box. And each of my employees in every clinic are challenged to be the CEO of their area and to make things right for the people that come to our practice in their most vulnerable position of needing care. So we have to be their advocates, and maybe we're told no by the insurance companies, but we're never going to know until we push for it. And perhaps that plants a seed for someone else at one of the insurance companies that says maybe we need to look at some things differently. There's a very strong push to provide preventive medicine. We want to make sure that patients have good, solid information to make informed decisions. They're partners in their healthcare. They need to have a voice, but they need to understand how to have the voice. And it's our responsibility to give the information and to plant the seeds with their insurance company for the things that they need to make sure that happens.
Well, and as you talk about patient-centric, and by the way, your comment was not passed over with me about making everybody their own CEO of their own department and their own branch of sorts. It seems that many times the larger the organizations, the more rules there are that would impede you from, pardon the term, doing the right thing. Obviously in this case, we need to help this person do da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, the rules say, have we ever exercised those rules before? Have we ever, discussed them or asked for a grace period in any way, like you talk about? Fabulous ideas. I want to get back to the hospital just for a second. How big is the hospital, Mandy? How many people?
Yeah, so we're 163 beds in full service. But one of the things that we're really proud of at National Park is our Heart and Vascular Center, and that's a service line that's been important to us and sort of one of our major players for several years. But this past year, we just expanded it even further. So just more comprehensive heart care right here close to home. We added cardiac electrophysiology. And that means cardiac electrophysiology is basically the electricians of the heart versus interventional cardiologists, who we've had for quite some time, who are the plumbers of the heart. So we got Dr. Tim Talbert, and he, with his electrician skills with the heart, he actually provides advanced treatments for atrial fib and as well as other irregular heart rhythms, in addition to several other things. He does a lot of implantable devices that we didn't do before. So it just really expanded our heart program even further than it was previously. We also have cardiovascular surgery here at National Park. And we've had that for quite some time, but I think just with all three of those services being right there it's the Hot Springs Cardiology Clinic, which is one of Kelly's clinics. There's so much available to our community right here, right next door. It's fantastic.
How would you think the best way for people, the list watchers and listeners, I want to know more about this. I mean, Mandy, do I reach out to you? What do we do?
Well, we have a couple of websites. So National Park Medical Center is just nationalparkmedical.com. And the National Park Physician Services, which is all of the clinics that Kelly leads, is nationalparkphysicianservices.com. And then we both have Facebook pages. You can check those out. If you just search on Facebook for those two, National Park Medical Center and National Park Physician Services, you'll find us. And we're always happy to help answer any questions. Before COVID, we were happy to always give tours and things like that as well. But if that was something that you were interested in, we would encourage you to reach out to us for sure.
Kelly, your spin?
Well, we're just very excited to be able to provide care to Hot Springs and the Hot Springs Village proper. That we have really listened to the voice of the folks that call us from the village, and we've tried to provide services that are important to them. Like I mentioned, we just put our heartburn clinic out there. We have general surgery, gastroenterology focus out there. We have cardiology services out there. And later this year, we're going to have a pulmonary satellite location, and we're going to have an orthopedic with a sports medicine focus satellite. So we're looking for that towards the end of the year once we have some advanced equipment installed out there. So we value Hot Springs Village. We understand the importance of you having preventive care, and we want to be your partner in making sure that you live the healthiest life that you possibly can.
You know, I know you're not, but man, that could have been a script. That was good. That was real. I'm like, wow, that was pretty definitive. And it really is. And I can tell it's heartfelt too. I mean, on the one hand, it takes people, it takes machinery, it takes facilities, it takes all that. At the bottom, at the other part of that end is you have to have the desire to want to give great service to people. And that is a wonderful thing.
I think a lot about all of the folks that come from all over the world to this area, to Hot Springs Village, to Hot Springs itself. You know, on any given day, how many thousands of people are from all over the world, and they come here for a reason. They come here because they can have a small town flavor with some really cool advanced things that are exciting in the community. And we have that same focus in healthcare. We want you to come from New York to Hot Springs and know that you're going to receive exactly the same level of care here that you would there should you so need it.
It's funny, Diane and I were actually looking around, and we're always, you know, people with our Airbnbs and our rentals, people are always asking about facilities and and things to do. And I literally, I've left out, we did nearly a 3-hour show, a 2-part 3-hour show for things to do within an hour of the village. And then Diane was going through a list of things I left out, you know, because wives do that. They remember the things their husbands forgot, you know. And we're going through the list, and I said, you know, she's from the Donaldson, Malvern, Arkadelphia area. I'm from Benton. We're some of the few people that live on this lake that are from Arkansas. And I told Diane, I said, it's not lost on me how many of what an attraction the village, the national forest, the lakes, the national park. Oh my Lord, any one of those would be a great attraction. Did I mention a casino and a racetrack? Did I mention let's go down the list. And in addition, thankfully, world-class healthcare. We really appreciate y'all guys, really, seriously.
Yes, it's been terrific. And you're right. There are tons of things that you can do here. And we have, over the last 2 years, been able to recruit 18 providers from a lot of different areas of specialty. And I always tell people, you know, you may not think about Hot Springs right off the bat, but if I can get you here and show you all the wonderful things that we have, and you can meet the wonderful citizens that live here, you're going to want to come.
I think that's extremely well said. Mandy, do you have anything eloquent like that you need to say?
I would just add that, I mean, Kelly and I both, we love Hot Springs. I mean, don't get me wrong. We love National Park Medical Center, but we love Hot Springs and Hot Springs Village. This community, it's beautiful. It doesn't get any better than this. And it truly is an honor and a privilege for us to be able to serve the residents here and to get to live here alongside them and provide care to our friends and neighbors. I mean, it's a special treat.
Well, let me add some things real quick for the outside listener that has waited this long and gotten this far in the conversation. Just for what it's worth, you guys are down on historic Malvern Avenue. You're not far from the Country Club, which is a beautiful place. But literally, Mandy, it makes me think of it with your picture behind you. And Kelly, if you had a picture, you would be in the same place too, right? Yeah, okay. Literally drive back behind that building and go 2 blocks back, and there's a gorgeous historic cemetery located beside the dog park, located beside the Hot Springs Creek that comes out of Hot Springs with the bathhouse water in it that goes out to Lake Hamilton, with stunning parks and a huge train trestle and gorgeous daffodils. I really am not doing it justice. And it's not miles away or over there. You could walk there in 5 to 10 minutes. It really is.
I literally ride my bike from the hospital down that trail.
Do you really?
It's so beautiful.
It is.
I
gorgeous.
ride all over Hot Springs.
Oh, and not to mention the brand new baseball diamond facilities back there that look world class. I should take up baseball, but I mean, there's a lot of kids and a lot of people. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, I digress. Mandy, Kelly, one quick question. Would you come back?
Gladly.
Certainly.
Man, we'd love to have you. We really would. And I can tell we have literally just scratched the top of the surface. There's a dozen things we could come back and talk about as the events come up. I know y'all have special clinics from time to time. Well, Mandy, and I'm going to throw one at you here. What is April? If Colon Awareness Month is March, what's April?
You are throwing one at me. I know April is Organ Donation Awareness Month. So that's coming up. There will be a lot coming out on that. May is a huge month. I'm trying to think of the health observances, but both Nurses Week and Hospital Week are in May. So there's a lot. There's always a lot going on. And the seminar that I mentioned earlier that Dr. Lawrence is doing is actually on Doctor's Day, March 30th. But it filled up. We've got 40 people coming. So we fully intend to have some additional knee replacement seminars coming up. And I bet Dr. Lawrence would love to come and visit with you sometime.
Well, I promise you, I know Randy, he's an old guy, but Randy would love to. No, I'm serious. I have people I've worked with here and gardeners I've worked with here in the village, and they want to get out and garden. And they're like, this knee. I'm like, And there's always the, do I one or both at the same time? And I'm like, anyway, I have a lot of questions. I have a lot of curiosity there for Randy, not for myself, just for Randy. I'm asking for a friend, doctor. I'm asking for a friend.
I'm sure they get that all the time.
Yeah, I bet they do. Well,
one of the big pushes that we have, and I just don't want to leave without saying this, in April out at our Hot Springs Village, we have some campaigns going out to patients that receive their care at the village clinic for their annual wellness visit. We do a campaign drive for that physical exam that is really a very important component of making sure that you have good preventive care delivered. So we generally do that in April of every year. We want to make sure you get your routine measurements, routine blood work and tests, and that we have a good opportunity to evaluate your medicines, which can be one of the number one reasons for falls, not having good proper assessment of your medicine. So we do a push every April, and we should expect some additional information going out to the patients that live in the Hot Springs Village area for April.
Well, we cannot skip that. You brought it up. Let's chase that dog just a second. Dr. Lipschitz at UMS in Little Rock, one of the world-renowned gerontologists and just a famous author, makes note that falls are the problem. That in older age, a fall can cause a stroke can cause a fall, over medication. You just got to get that balance right. So, no, I see exactly where you're going. Maybe we'll talk about that on the next episode.
Sounds good.
We appreciate it. Kelly, Mandy, it has been a pleasure. Thank you for joining us on Hot Springs Village Inside Out, and we will see you next time.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Hot Springs Village Inside Out, a podcast where Hot Springs Village, Arkansas is the star. Please subscribe to the podcast. You can do that by visiting our website, hsvinsideout.com, and tell a friend.